In Poppy Playtime 4, Playtime Company is on its way from being a toy factory to a slaughterhouse because there are new animalistic toys that are bloodier, more violent, and more terrifying than ever before. Let's discover all the hidden details and secrets of the game's first teaser. But first, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss anything about the most terrifying toys in video games. Here you have 15 hidden details of the first teaser of Poppy Playtime 4. Poppy Playtime 4 is the next step in the saga, and the first teaser makes it very clear that the story of the Smiling Critters is over. The video shows in detail how the 8 Smiling Critters toys that appeared in Poppy Playtime 3 are destroyed on the ground, with only one of them alive and being killed along with the rest of its companions. The teaser, besides showcasing Chapter 4, is also a metaphor for leaving the Smiling Critters behind. At first glance, it might seem that the place where Dog Day is wandering during the trailer is a dump since it's full of damaged toys. Catnap already threw the player into a dump at the beginning of Poppy Playtime 3, from which the protagonist manages to escape alive. This place, however, is not a dump. It's more like a cemetery inside Playtime Company. This is where dead toys and experiments end up, something like a warehouse of toy corpses. The star of the first teaser of Poppy Playtime 4 is not Dog Day, even though he appears the most. At a certain moment, Dog Day is attacked by a creature that was playing dead, being killed while his attacker slowly looks at the camera as it moves away. For an instant, you can see the full shape and face of this new Playtime Company toy. It's a model from a new series of toys, also based on animals like the Smiling Critters, but with a slightly more terrifying touch. It looks like a black sheep with its eyes covered by wool. The most distinctive feature compared to the other toys is that it has a huge front tooth, and from afar, its appearance is similar to a skull, like the one it wears on its pendant. In any case, this toy is a miniature version, like the plushies of the Smiling Critters, although we all know that that doesn't make it any less aggressive anyway. One of the parts the player visited during Chapter 3 of Poppy Playtime took place beneath the factory. This dark place, where Catnap worshipped the prototype, was a mine. This location was also seen during the transport of Kissy Missy in the Hour of Joy, but it seems that in Poppy Playtime 4, it's gonna have a much more important role. In the first images of the game, revealed on its Steam page, you can see that one of the areas the protagonist passes through is in the mines, just below the Playtime Company factory. The fact that Chapter 3 ended with Poppy and the protagonist descending in an elevator is further proof that Chapter 4 will take place beneath the toy factory. But the mine is not the final destination in Chapter 4 of the game. Among the files of Poppy Playtime 3, there were some references to a place known as prison. Since the mines are usually a passageway for the clandestine activities of Playtime Company, the ultimate destination for the player in Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 is the prison. This place, or one very similar, appeared in the game Project Playtime. In the character selection screen of the game, the monsters appear inside cube-shaped cells. The definitive proof that Chapter 4 is heading towards a prison is in one of the images on the game's Steam page, where you can see the lower part of this monstrous toy jail. Not all the cell doors are open, but in the few whose interiors can be seen, there's a security breach that connects to another part of the factory. It's likely that some of the monsters that were locked up in the Playtime Company prison escaped during the Hour of Joy, some being released and others on their own after the factory's security was reduced. In the toy cemetery, a very special toy is hidden that had very little prominence until now. The most visible are the miniature versions of the Smiling Critters, among which you can find Hoppy Hopscotch, Kickin' Chicken, or Bubba Bubbaphant. Besides these, and if you pay attention, you'll also find a bunch of other toys that appeared in previous chapters of Poppy Playtime. Here is one of the small-size Huggy Wuggies, Ron the Brontosaurus, the Bumblebee Cappy, PJ Pugapillar, and also Bunzo Bunny. They had all appeared at some point in previous chapters, but there is one whose appearances have been anecdotal. Boogie Bot is a dancing robot created by Playtime Company in 1993 and is also in this pile of corpses in the toy cemetery. It's possible that in Chapter 4 of Poppy Playtime, we'll see more about this electronic monster that has gone so unnoticed until now. At the beginning of the teaser where Dog Day is walking, you can see on one of the shelves a bunch of stacked boxes. One of them has an address and several numbers written on it, and although it's hard to read, you can see the word Poland written. It's likely that inside the boxes there are imported parts or materials used to create the toys. By the way, did you know that in schools in Poland they began to ban children from bringing Huggy Wuggy toys due to their terrifying appearance? Yeah, this is totally real. It even made the national news in the Central European country. In the teaser and images of Poppy Playtime Chapter 4, there's a symbol that hasn't been seen before and that repeats in several places. In the final part of the video, as the camera moves away, you can see on the left side a series of concentric squares with 3 colors. They appear on the storage boxes inside the toy cemetery and also in one of the game's images on the Steam page over one of the offices. Their colors, red, blue, and yellow, are the most characteristic and used by the Playtime Company brand, so they could be used to signal the prison and its different depth levels. What do you think's hidden in the deepest level? The developers of Poppy Playtime often leave clues about the game's lore on their Discord channel. One of the most striking is this one posted by Zach Bellinger, where he compared Star Wars with Poppy Playtime. In this case, he associated the prototype with Emperor Palpatine and Huggy Wuggy with Darth Vader. In the movie, Palpatine rescues Anakin Skywalker in a dire state and manages to rebuild him in a kind of laboratory, resulting in the birth of Darth Vader. So, this would imply that the prototype found a dying Huggy Wuggy and gave him a second life. Before the release of the first teaser of Poppy Playtime 4, Mob Entertainment was publishing summaries of the previous chapters of Poppy Playtime. What's curious here is that each video contains a hidden phrase, and if you put the 3 together, you can read the following: "Unfelted feet and with bated breath, sleep draws ever near, over paths turning clear, but I am not afraid of death, for we have already met." Now, this message has 2 different interpretations. The first is quite simply a description of a new monster that lurks in the darkness and is quite stealthy. It's likely that the player has some kind of relationship with this toy, since the phrase "for we have already met" could indicate that. The second theory points to one of the toys from previous chapters returning, and the one most likely is Huggy Wuggy. I mean, the return of Catnap wouldn't make sense. Mommy Longlegs ended up dismembered, but of Huggy, we only know that he fell into the void and left a trail of hair in Chapter 2. If Huggy is indeed returning, it may even be the monster that attacked Kissy Missy at the end of Chapter 3. The end of the story explained in Chapter 3 revealed something quite interesting. Someone has been watching all the players' movements from the moment they entered Playtime Company. Judging by the tone of his voice, it's quite likely that it's Harley Sawyer, the factory doctor responsible for the Big Bodies Initiative. For those who don't remember, this project consisted of using the orphan children of Playtime as test subjects to create giant toys with a life of their own. In the final shot, you can see how Harley Sawyer, or maybe the prototype imitating his voice, laughs upon seeing the player venturing into one of the most dangerous areas of the factory. The equivalence between the smiling critters and their terrifying versions begins with the sinister sheep, but this is only a miniature version of what this monster could become. From afar, the character looks like it has a white face with a lot of black wool around it, giving the impression of a skull or the Scream mask. It already happened with Catnap and Dog Day, but I don't rule out that this new character also has its big body version in the factory, though we don't know yet if it'll be the main villain toy of the chapter or if it'll have a secondary role, much like Miss Delight in the school. In this game image, you can see some purple platforms with a handprint on them. If you played Chapter 3, you'll surely remember that the purple hand was used to utilize these platforms as a springboard to make great jumps. In Poppy Playtime 4, this tool will be back. The flare gun will likely also return to scare away the new critters, but the one I'm not really sure about is the green hand that could conduct electricity and which the player had to sacrifice to electrocute Catnap and defeat him. Have you taken the time to listen carefully to the song playing in the background during the trailer? At first, it may seem a bit confusing, but if you wait until the end, you'll hear a slowed down version of the main melody of Poppy the Doll's lullaby. This musical resource seems to be commonly used to invoke the past of Playtime Company, because in the first trailer for Chapter 3, you could hear a similar melody when the Playcare was first introduced. Don't miss our secrets tour of Playtime Company with these Poppy Playtime videos. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next ones. Thanks for watching, see you next time!